predictive of outcomes in adulthood. So while we all worry that there's this tremendous focus on student achievement, on tests, on standardized tests, and maybe that's not a good thing or it is a good thing, and I think maybe the answer is somewhere in the middle at the end of the day, the first thing I want to establish is just the very simple fact that there's a strong correlation between students' test scores and how they're doing as adults. So just to be concrete, let's take an example of the kind of test that we're going to use information from. So this is the Stanford Achievement Test. And let me give you an example of a kindergarten test question on this test. So I'll say a word to you, listen for the ending sound. You circle the picture that starts with the same sound. So I say cup, and hopefully everyone in this room knows that the answer is pencil and not duck. And so then the question is, how is the kid who happened to say duck instead of pencil doing when we see him in the data when he's 27 years old? And here's the answer to that question. So these are your earnings at the age of 27 in this Tennessee data, plotted against your kindergarten test scores measured in percentiles. So the kids on the far right of this graph are scoring at the top of their class in kindergarten, at the end of kindergarten, and the kids on the far left are scoring, unfortunately, near the bottom. And what you can see is that this is a relatively low socioeconomic status population. That's why mean earnings are actually relatively low compared to the national mean. And so, you see the strong upward sloping relationship where you can see that at the top of the class, if you're scoring near the top of the class, your earnings are around $25,000 on average at age 27. And at the bottom of the class, they're only $10,000. So that's a 2.5 factor improvement going from the bottom to the top. That's a massive change from an economic point of view, right? Imagine if we could move kids across the spectrum. That would be like multiplying our GDP by 2.5 in one stroke. So these are enormous differences as a result of just your kindergarten test score, right? It's also important to note that kindergarten test score predicts many other outcomes besides earnings. So as economists, people often tell us, you guys only focus on earnings, but many other things matter in life, and we're happy to concede that. So again, let me show you other outcomes. So this is college attendance rates versus kindergarten test score, and you can see that if you were near the top of your kindergarten class, the probability of college attendance exceeds 80%, but near the bottom of the kindergarten class, it's less than 20%. And various other outcomes as well. This is the probability that you own a house versus your kindergarten test score, whether you're saving for retirement or not in the form of a 401k contribution versus your kindergarten test score. Kindergarten test scores even predict whether you're married by the age of 27.